Hey, how's it going? Happy weekend to you. Stephen Platinum here. So this last week was the 50th anniversary of Bruno Sammartino against Ivan Koloff. What can you say, man? Um, one of the biggest title switches in history, maybe the biggest. Bruno Sammartino, again, he was champ for 7.5 years. Can you imagine? Um, and this took place at Madison Square Garden. Um, have I seen this match before? I've seen clips of it, but never put together all at once. And I'm just going to give you my from the gut reaction to this thing. Let's go ahead and hit it. As you can see there, Madison Square Garden, January 18th, 1971, living legend Bruno Sammartino against the Russian Bear Ivan Koloff. Madison Square Garden.
The living legend, Bruno Sammartino, against the Russian Bear, Ivan Koloff.
Now, I assume this is going to be clips. First impression, look at the size of these fucking guys. Look how huge they are. Look at Koloff's legs alone. My God.
This is the great class.
Yeah, look at him! These guys are freaking monstrous. Of course, this footage is shit, but I mean, even through that, you can see just how immense these guys were.
This is the great.
How great is the lockup? It's fucking awesome. Look at it. And I know you must be going like, Steve, why are you being so nitpicky? But look at this. Just the intensity of the struggle, just of the lockup.
Greatest match of all time.
Shoves up. This guy's calling it the greatest match of all time.
Ever.
Another great lockup. Just pushing each other off of the lockup a couple of times, and then Bruno like wiping his face, I'm guessing, and then going back to it.
1971. Koloff with a side headlock now. Shoulder tackle into Sammartino. Dropped down by Sammartino.
Look how fast they move too. It's very impressive. Especially keep in mind, you can tell by looking at this ring. See how the post is, and it just goes into the canvas of the ring. This is not a wrestling ring. I mean, this is not a wrestling ring. What can I tell you? This is I mean, it is probably as hard as concrete. You can tell because the ring isn't moving very much in spite of these two incredibly large guys running on it.
Tino, big back body drop.
Gosh, more guys need to do the back body drop. I think it's really great.
And a lateral press by Sammartino. Koloff kicks out now, and Sammartino gets scooped up by the Russian.
Look how fast they're going. Boom, throw you down. I'm countering. So the story of the match is right off the bat, they're really jockeying for position. There isn't like a long shine for anybody. They're very evenly matched, and so they're going back and forth.
Sammartino with a big arm drag on Koloff.
Oof, nice arm drag. And another one. Tries to lock up the arm, and Koloff puts him in the head scissors right away, and Sammartino's out. These guys are working. This idea of like, oh, roast holds, man, not even. Sammartino, let's look at that again. He takes the monkey flip, but he turns in the air to land on one knee so he can get up right away. Man, these guys are just going like gangbusters. Pushes the leg dive. But see what I mean? Boom, he hits from the side so he can turn and go and shoot on the leg and get it. Shoves him off. Another arm drag, which was a nice logical progression. He's reaching for him. Sammartino takes him over with that arm drag. They're doing things that come to them. In football terms, they're basically taking what the defense gives them. And I like it. It has a much more spontaneous feel. It has a much more of a real fight kind of feel, as opposed to, I'm going to arm drag you, and I'm going to arm drag you, or I'm going to arm drag you, and then I'm going to hip toss you, and then I'm going to body slam you, and always doing things in the same progression. They really feel like they're just going at it and trying to get over on each other. And then he finally slows it down by locking up that arm and really wrenching on it. This is not a rest hold, right? Rest hold, which we love saying, rest hold. They're only rest holds when you make them a rest hold. If you've got a chin lock, you should be trying to break the guy down to the mat to get more leverage, or you should be fighting constantly to get up. It's not a thing where you're sitting and the person's kind of sitting and you're not doing anything. Same with this arm lock. Boy, he's wrenching at it, he's tugging at it. This is much better than I honestly thought it was going to be. I'm just going to be totally honest. Look at him wrenching at that arm, and it looks like he's dragging his big body. Koloff selling, of course. Now we get to a different part. We obviously jumped ahead in time a little bit. Koloff's got the advantage. He's got him kind of like a surfboard. Look at, they struggle every step of the way so you know what's going on. Everything, it seems like most things nowadays are these sort of quick, fast counters that are tricky. And rare do guys sort of like show the struggle. Pro wrestling is about struggle. And I think the more that we can make these things apparent, when you're struggling in every hold, struggling to get to the next thing, I think that will do wonders to improve the quality and effectiveness of the match. The only thing with struggle, though, is it means you are legitimately never taking a break. You're working all the time. And you know what? That's how it should be.
For this Worldwide Wrestling Federation Championship match, January 18th, 1971. Can you believe it? A test of strength back and forth. The Russian Bear, Sammartino. Koloff in control right now, as he's got the arms of Sammartino behind him now.
See, and Sammartino like almost got up, but then Ivan Koloff, so they're putting Ivan Koloff, by the way, look at those guys' legs, especially Koloff's. My God, these guys are huge, man. And then, but he breaks him down again. You know, with the struggle comes sometimes you're going to fail. I would imagine they're going to do it in threes. Let me see.
And Koloff controlling the match.
Sammartino kind of fighting again for a second time. It skipped ahead again, unfortunately. But Koloff breaks him down again. And they're allowing the crowd, right? You take them on the trip. You go up, a lot of fast action. And then down a little bit with that arm lock by Sammartino where he's still working. And then back up again. But now Koloff's got the advantage, and now they're bringing him back down. But you notice, like, when I say bring them down, I don't mean crash them all the way down. I just mean just a little down for a jumping off point to the next peak. It kind of continually goes up, right?
Greatest matches of all time.
Yes, we get it. This commentator, whoever this is, doing a voice overlay on this thing is just selling it so hard, and it's not necessary. Oh, he's trying to do the spin. I don't remember the last time I saw that counter, honestly, where somebody's in this and then they manage to turn it around on something. That's actually a drill I used to do just so people got comfortable with working with one another and going with the flow of things a little more. Struggle, and now he's got him. Here's another interesting distinction. Baby faces struggle and escape. Heels go to the ropes. When's the last time you've even thought about that? Baby faces wrestle and escape. Heels take the technical way out. Let that burn into your brain. Nowadays, the natural thing is you're caught in a submission, you go to the ropes. But it used to be baby faces would be caught. That if a baby face had to go to the ropes, that was a sign that that submission hold was so powerful that they had to go on the ropes. There was no other mode of escape. Otherwise, they would counter wrestle, because that was a sign of being good at something, is that you would counter it. Did that just blow your mind? There it is. Sammartino out-wrestles Koloff. Koloff takes the shortcut way out. Does that mean he's cheating? No, Koloff isn't cheating. But it does mean that on some level he is inferior as the heel to the babyface Sammartino. I think it's a very important distinction. And I think it's one that should come back as well. Sammartino with that clean break, but he's smart. He steps back a little bit.
Championship match here in the Big Apple. As you can see, the size of Ivan Koloff.
They spent a lot of time, you know. Now the struggle is different. They're not as energetic. Now it is really just bone on bone. Boom! Boom! Headlock with him. Bang! And knocks him silly. Look at that. Hip toss puts him down. He goes. Kick out by Sammartino. Look at that. Whip it. God, these guys are so big and so strong. Runs him over with that tackle. See what a big move the tackle was? And how slick that was. It's definitely a babyface thing, right?
And the crowd going crazy here in New York. Sammartino.
Drives that leg down. Looks so good. Looks so effective. And interacts with the crowd. Head up. I've got this hold. Don't worry, guys, I got him. Right?
Ivan Koloff. And again, Sammartino riding it down into the mat now, trying to weaken the leg of the big Russian bear, but Koloff comes back with a choke.
And then we skip ahead. So now we've reached a point in the match where every time Koloff has gotten something going, Sammartino has countered it, right? Got him in the surfboard, and it took a while, but eventually he countered it, and Koloff had to go to the ropes to break it. Anytime they had interplay, even when Koloff got to run Sammartino over with shoulder tackles and the like, Sammartino outsmarted him, took him down with a drop down toe hold, started working on that leg. So now Koloff has to go to his final play, which is I just got to start cheating. So he's ripping at the face and all that kind of stuff. It's great storytelling, but it's not just storytelling in the macro sense of I shine and then I take over and put the heat on you, but everything is a logical progression. Sammartino has continually out-wrestled me, so I finally can't stand no more. And even though I'm big and strong, arguably even stronger than Sammartino, because I've run him over a couple of times, I have to go at this because Sammartino is so great, right? I have to start cheating. Very obvious gestures. Now he's stomping and kicking away, and these spots, which are just normal interludes in modern matches, now have a different meaning. Koloff is just going to have to stomp the life out of Sammartino and rip his face and do anything he can to try to stay in this match, because Sammartino has pulled ahead through wrestling acumen. Yeah.
Sammartino, as he rams him into that turnbuckle.
Even this idea of ramming people into the turnbuckle and stuff, this is all brawling, like street fighting stuff. So it's seen as a lower tier than wrestling, as it should be. Just kicking away. Look to the point where referee's pulling him back because of the hair pull, right? Referee showing that authority. Boy, those are some solid shots to the chest, man, are they not? 310. They're billing him at 310. It's a big man. It does make you realize how great Koloff was, that he was able to keep working through the Crockett era and lead that Russian contingent. Just going. Sammartino's body language is... Now, some people would say, oh, he's not really selling. He is selling. He's selling like, I'm hurt. Instead of being like big and puffed out, he's crumpled in, because he knew that this would read effectively. Okay, in Memphis, the kind of sells that they were doing back then were hair whipping, You had longer hair. You whipped your head. You know, if you're the baby face, you usually had blonde hair. You whipped yourself all over the place. It was very overt and theatrical. Um, Here, they're in the Northeast. They're going for more rough and tumble. So the cells are more like, oh, they're still cells. Instead of being gesturing wildly, they pulled it inward. Both of these things read to the back of the room. Keep in mind, this is Madison Square Garden. It is not a tiny place, but they would be able to note, hey, Sammartino's hurt, and that would cause them concern, right?
Koloff hammering him up.
Bob, right? See, his head is down. Koloff is in a big superior position. Sammartino's down. That's how he's choosing to sell.
Trying to get his composure.
Just hammering away. Because that way, when Sammartino makes his comeback,
Big right hand.
boom, big hits.
Oh, Sammartino buries the boot.
That little jumping skip boot that Sammartino did was it's something he did throughout his whole career, and it was always very effective. I'm going to go back a little bit so you can see something that is cool. Sammartino, just by virtue of like having such body control and such strength, is able to go. I want to look at the Sammartino comeback again. Boom, look at that right. Big right and a big sell. See, Sammartino, how do I put this? Sammartino, because he's the baby face, when he sells, there's a bit of dignity to it, right? Ooh, I crumple in. When Koloff sells for Sammartino, that's when you do big energy. That's when you do big gestures because you're trying to cue the crowd. Wow, Sammartino's punches are so devastating that it's just forcing me to sell like this. Do you see the distinction? When Sammartino does something on offense, it's supposed to generate excitement. When Koloff is supposed to do something offensively, it's supposed to elicit concern. And those are two different emotions. But Sammartino here, he takes him from the corner, and instead of whipping him to the opposite corner, he swings him all the way, takes him into the ropes, and then does that kick so Koloff can do another large sell for him.
As he whips him into the ropes now, Koloff. Oh, Sammartino buries the boot. He buried that heavy boot into the midsection of the Russian bear. He whips him into those ropes now, Sammartino. Oh, big power slam. Lateral press by Sammartino.
It's very nice. They're working together very nicely. Whip throws him into that slam. The commentator, this is what I don't like about the commentator, and I get it. Things were a little different back then. But he's basically telling us what we're seeing. And nowadays, I think expectations have changed, that it's more about relaying the story or interesting facts that can kind of flesh out a thing more. Sammartino, notice when he gets kicked out, when he kicks out, Sammartino doesn't just go dead. He immediately goes into something. And watch how he's wrenching in this chin lock, right? He's really looking like he's putting him out. And Koloff sells, my arms are gone. He breaks him down. What did I say before? I didn't even know that was going to happen. But I did know back then, if they got a hold, there was two ways to go with it. The guy was going to escape the hold, or you were going to break him down even more. And in this case, Sammartino has broken him down even more. And the crowd at this point, their expectation is, this is good. Sammartino's clearly in control. Koloff went to the ropes, so that thing got broken. And then when Bruno has given him an appropriate amount of time to color, and they're coming back together, like in a boxing thing, right? If they tie each other up, the referee separates them, and then there's supposed to be this sort of like pause and this beat of time. They're doing that as well, because that's what people would expect based on athletics, based on other combat sports that they watch. And Sammartino's not a jerk, so he's going to give that sort of appropriate sportsman-like amount of time from a break. Boom! Look at that punch to the stomach. And the head again. Huge sells by Koloff. Missing now. Kick to the stomach, hit to the face, and he flat back bumps for him. But he kicks out again after a one. Now, what would that signify to the crowd in Sammartino? Boy, we don't have this guy in an advantageous position after all. It would also clue the crowd in and put that seed in their mind of, man, this Koloff's pretty tough because they've probably seen Bruno put guys down a little harder than that with that amount of offense. You know, subtle stuff. Sammartino's really clamping. He looks like he's clamping that thing on. And see, he's wrenching. He's not just resting. He's wrenching it, wrenching it. Koloff's arms going limp. He's really working that hold hard. And Koloff's down. And Sammartino sees his chance to get the pin. And now, now what does that 2 count mean? That 2 count means you really wore me down with that chin lock and grinding it out. You really wore me down now. So now Koloff is in a bad state, and so the crowd is feeling even better about it, right? Nice leg dive, but Sammartino kicks out right away. Now it's energy, right? He keeps going for that leg dive. Sammartino, I hate that it skipped ahead there, but obviously like locked up the arm, but it feels like more of a desperate kind of thing. Like I'm trying to hold on to this arm because now Koloff is coming on. All of these physical cues would have been read from the audience back then. Now Koloff is, and how is Sammartino selling? Oh, now he's been driven to the mat by blows for the first time. The referee went down. That would have been a very exciting spot.
He got caught by Koloff. Koloff whipped in that corner, buckle out. Sammartino running in. He ran into that brick wall. The big knee of Koloff.
Big boot puts him down. Let's look at that sequence again, because we're getting close to the finish, I'm gathering.
The referee just went down. He got caught by Koloff.
Whips him in. Boot caught him and put him down. And Sammartino, for almost the first time in the match, takes a huge flat back bump. An indication that he's really gotten shocked by that blow. Koloff now seizes his moment, capitalizes, picks him up. Big body slam. Do you need an indication of how stiff this ring is? Watch Sammartino when he gets slammed, what happens to his body. Bah, ouch. Watch what happens to Sammartino on this body slam. He actually bounces up and down in that stiff-ass ring. Wow. So, what would people watching this match understand? They would understand that he got the wind knocked out of him and that he's in dire straits. Is this where Koloff goes for that knee drop?
That top rope now. He's up against the top. Oh, down with that big Russian leg drop across Sammartino. No!
The top rope knee, you got to keep in mind how devastating that was. Ray the Crippler Stevens used it as well in these sort of famous bombs away gimmicks. Man. And look at the confidence of the pin. This is Koloff holding him down and then looking up. This is his moment.
Oh, you can hear a pin drop. First time ever. We got a new champion. Sammartino pinned in New York.
And look, they have to tend to Sammartino. He's been defeated and crushed utterly. Wow.
City. I can't believe my eyes.
I knew what was going to happen and I knew the finish, and I still feel some kind of way about it. Wow.
You can hear a pin drop. Koloff beat the Abruzzi Strongman. The new champion, Ivan Koloff. They better get him out of the building. They're going to riot. They're going to riot. Get him out of here, Koloff.
They're going to riot. They're going to riot. Let's look at that sequence again. Boot puts him down. Oh my God, I didn't even notice how great that sell was. Okay, look at the reaction of Sammartino's head when he takes that boot to the chest too. Pop! And then he throws himself down hard. He's hurt. He can barely move. Koloff plants him, bounces him off of the mat, and then he's moving quick because he senses the end, right? And people would say like, oh, well, if he's taking all this damage, how does he move so fast? I don't know. How do guys put on the finishing touches in real combat sports when they sense they have a victory? The part of combat sports is managing your energy. Everything isn't either I'm damaged or I'm not damaged. You're constantly damaged in combat sports. But if you've conserved your energy and used it appropriately, you do it for those moments. In boxing, you don't just keep throwing until you can't lift your arms. You conserve your energy, and then when you have an opening and you have somebody hurt, that's when you turn it up again. Yeah. And Koloff is turning it up, hitting a gigantic move by the standards of the day. Pow! And how does Sammartino do some pussy weird right after three I kick out to show that he barely got me? Or or do you put all of your chips on the table, or do you just give a guy everything? Isn't that what putting a guy over is you give him everything? And Sammartino's going to give Koloff everything here. He's devastated. He's destroyed. Guys have to check on him after the fight. He's lost.
Tino, no! Oh, you can hear a pin drop. First time ever. We got a new champion. Sammartino pinned in New York City. I can't believe my eyes. The crowd.
They're sitting him up. He's selling his stomach, right? He's got his arm over. So good.
They better get him out of the building. They're gonna riot. They're gonna riot. Get him out of here. Koloff.
So good. So good. Anyway, 50th anniversary, 50 years ago, right? And then from Koloff, it went to Pedro Morales. From Pedro Morales, Stan the Man. From Stan the Man, back to Sammartino. From Sammartino to Superstar Billy Graham. From Superstar Billy Graham to Bob Backlund. From Bob Backlund, the Iron Sheik. And then from the Iron Sheik, we had Hulk Hogan. See how I was able to do that? You know why? Because every title switch mattered. And I would love it if we could get back to that as well. Anyway, this was a look at Ivan Koloff versus Bruno Sammartino. There were way more teachable moments in there than I thought there would be, if I'm being honest. But have a great weekend, and I'll see you guys again soon.